we have with us another, equally important person. He is Wing Commander Alok Sahai, alumni of JNU and also from Air Force, and a very good educationist. He has been giving variety of lectures, motivations, interventions at colleges as well as universities and on television channels. You have seen him many times. So let's come back to Alokji, Alokji, and listen to him. He talks about this village system, middle class, lower class, upper class, and new education policies, how it is affecting life, society, etc. So I welcome Alokji, who also talks about developing better psychology, group task at a student lifetime, discipline at a student lifetime, betterment, towards ethics, value, etc. Please, Alokji, welcome.
Thank you. Really, I'm pleased to join all of you, the eminent personalities here. But I'm going to cover a little different aspect, as Ravi has said. You may discuss it and debate with me what I am saying is correct or not. Try to understand, for the first time, the government of India has recognized this problem, that there is a serious lack of development of ethics, value system, critical thinking, feeling of Indianness among the youth from the education level, primary education level. This has been recognized by the government of India. And if you notice this new education policy, this is directing exactly towards that effort. Try to understand, anybody who is in the growing stage, by 11th or 12th, his mind is already matured. Try to understand. The value system which we are trying to develop in a child, we cannot develop at graduation, at post-graduation level. We cannot. These values are imbibed among the students at a very growing stage, from 6th, 7th, 8th onwards, and maximum up to 11th, 12th. 11th, 12th also, they are 70 to 80% they are matured. But paradoxically, what happens, most of our primary education and the earliest stage of secondary education has never been giving importance towards this aspect. Are we teaching our students how to develop resilience? No. Are we teaching our students how to exist in a struggling society? No. Are we teaching our students how to respect our country and the national symbols? In a very minor way. I cannot say no. Are we teaching our students in these schools psychometrics? No. How will students develop a better Indian, a better grown-up person for the country who will contribute a lot? What Dr. Raman has been saying, the problems which sir has said, it is basically, sir, because of this. We have just been following a traditional education system, rote education syllabus. They are studying and going. We are not developing personalities in schools. We are not developing critical thinking in the schools. We are not developing psychological strengthening of a child in the schools. And as a result, what is happening? We are getting the kind of young generation in our country where the suicide rate is one of the highest. More than 17% of the suicide globally takes place in India. And the age group of this suicide, most of the people, 80 to 90% of the people who commit suicide are in the age group of 15 to 29. Why is it happening so? Do we know that how many rapes take place in India per day? All of us are aware that 80 to 90% of the rapes are not reported because of lok lajja, परिवार और बहन की इज्जत है, रिपोर्ट नहीं होती है. I'm talking of the reported cases where FIR has been lodged. It is close to 100 per day in the country. 100 per day rapes in our country. Please check Google, please check crime report data of Government of India. And most of the offenders are young generation people. Our country has created a generation of young people who are totally disoriented, disconnected with these values, etiquettes, mannerism, bonding with the national feeling, flora, fauna of the earth, love for nature, love for earth, how to survive, how to struggle, how to be a good human being, how to respect people, how to respect elders, how to respect your companions. These values are absolutely at the minimum in our young generation. And for the first time, the Government of India has recognized this, and they are talking of incorporating these things in the curriculum at the secondary school and the higher secondary school level. Now the problem is, it is very good that we have thought of this. It is very good that it should be done. But now the second aspect is, how do we realize the enormity of the problem? We have 15 lakh schools, secondary, I'm talking of secondary schools. More than 15 lakh secondary school in our country. More than 21-22 lakhs teachers, school teachers in our country. And all of you are aware, how are these teachers? Have we taught these teachers to teach our students and develop these qualities at secondary school level? No, they are already employed, they are teachers. So they are to be trained. Either we hire somebody from outside, or we train our teachers to develop these skills among the learners, among the young children. How do we do it? No, the Government of India will have to take a multi-pronged approach towards this. Everything is possible if we have determination, and if we want to do it, we can do it. Now, I was discussing, first of all, at national level, these policies, these curriculums have to be spelled out. Right now, what we have is the basic guidelines, how will a student learn etiquette? How will the student learn manners? How will the student learn how to survive in a struggling society? How will the student learn the quality of resilience? These things are to be devised in curriculum. Given in the curriculum, what should be done at the school level? How should we do it so that the students develop and acquire these qualities? For that, we need to have a very big panel of experts who can, spell out these details. This has to be done at national level, no doubt about it. Now we are talking about, when we go for the implementation of this policy, at the grassroots level, state level problems are different. This education policy also talks of, every state, we should have 3 language system, and we should have a multilingual approach. We should have, we should incorporate in our syllabus the local heroes, the local glorious historical past of that area at a school level. These things are being discussed. So states will have a lot of liberty to chalk out these details at a state level, but we should not give total liberty to a state. We must try to put at least one central person who will be coordinating this central education policy. One member from that central team has to be there in that state team where these details will be spelled out and written in the curriculum. Then only we can have a shake hand with the state, with the center, and we can have a nationalistic character of the curriculum. Otherwise, what happens? Sometimes states start deviating because of certain political gains. You know, there are instances in the past, you must have heard, that some states, in the process of developing their own, having a love for their own culture, having extreme love for their own language, sometimes they go against the national character also. There are instances in the past, you know it. There has been riots, language riots in our country. So to maintain multilingual approach, at the same time,
हाँ आया क्यों
uh,
सर था
anybody joining, please don't join direct. So anybody, any state who is who is working out these details, they should have a central team member also with them. This is one thing. Now, how to train these 22 lakhs teachers? You know, most of the teachers are, you go to villages, you see their level. You see their level. What they teach, how they teach. I'm not blaming them. They are already there. Their intent may be correct. Their intent may be high. Their intentions may be good. But we have to train these teachers to develop altogether this type of revolutionary, holistic type of teaching. It cannot be done. It cannot be done just by merely passing on the policy to them. It cannot happen. It requires a skill set. It requires a meticulously trained manpower among the teachers to implement this at a school level. If required, we need to hire some peers from our society to, you know, train our teachers. And infrastructure is there. Please don't think that we don't have infrastructure. We have got teachers training in school in almost all the districts of the country. We can utilize that. We just require a concerted effort, a central team who will go form every state team, make a shake hand with them, and then we make certain pockets at district level, and this district level team, which will be, you know, the district level team can be made from the existing teachers of the district. You select the best among them and make them responsible for teaching the primary school or secondary school teachers of that district in all the villages of that district, one by one. It will require a very monumental task, a monumental effort, and we have to do it. We have to do it. I mean, Dr. Raman said, and Sir also said that, you know, the bureaucracy at times takes over. But I am sorry if the government of India, or if our country thinks that this education has to change, it has to be done, and it has to be done with the iron will. With the iron will. And I suggest, Raviji, that this team should have some military officers, some senior military officers. Let me tell you, because there are, and you, as you tell, another thing, you told that how to inculcate discipline and qualities of soldiers in the college and school level. Should we have you know, permanent military service for, you know, a specific period of time for our students? In a country like ours, it is very difficult at this moment, I visualize, but there is a way we can do it. As Sarah said, we have NCC system. Why can't we make parading and that kind of NCC regimentation system in every school as a compulsory subject? You know, parade looks very hypothetical from outside. You cannot imagine what parade does to a student. It develops a sense of discipline among them. It develops a sense of, you know, responsibility, values. So these types of military curricular activities can be started at a school level in a minor way, in a small way. And children will imbibe these qualities automatically. Similarly, as we were discussing, this education policy talks of developing critical thinking among the secondary school education students. How to do that? We cannot do it by mere teaching physics, chemistry, science, maths in the school boards, in the classrooms. No, we cannot do that. Raviji, if you remember, in JNU, we have a system of seminar system, submission of seminars. For the benefit of audience, I'll explain in 2 minutes. If a paper is of 100 marks, 50% of marks is given on your performance in the seminar. There are 2 seminars in every paper, and end semester examination is there on that paper, which carries 50% marks. And a sum of these 2 marks is your final marks of that paper in the university. This is a beautiful system. This is a beautiful system. New education policy also talks of introducing the same system at a school level. Give them debates, give them, problems, engage them in problem solving activities at a school level. Let them learn the street smartness, the value of survival, the value of leadership, the value of taking the debate, leading the debate to a logical conclusion. And once they know that this is going to be a part of my final marks in that subject, they will do it heartily. There will be compulsion, they cannot escape it. They all know that these things are immaterial. They all just do rote, रट्टा मारते हैं साल भर या एग्जामिनेशन के पहले और जाके एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में वॉमिट कर देते हैं. And the marks they get, based on that marks, they come out on the road as a product of our schools and colleges. So this type of critical thinking has to be developed by a very shrewdly designed course structure. A very shrewdly designed course structure, even at the primary level, even class 1, class 2. You leave clay, molding clay to class 1 students, pre-nursery students. Let him play with the clay. Let him make shapes. There are schools, concept schools who are doing it. Why can't we do it in our schools, in government schools? There are ways and means of, organizing activities at primary level by which these qualities can be imbibed by our young students. Why are we not doing it? I'm very happy that Government of India is now at least thinking of doing it. But it will require it's a monumental task. Let me tell you, it is a monumental task. Training 22 lakh secondary school teachers, reaching 15 lakhs schools in our country, and the kind of schools and the kind of infrastructure we have, it is a monumental task, but we can do it. We can do it provided we have the will and we have the determination. You are saying something, Ravi ji?
हाँ आलोक जी, मैं चाहूंगा कि अभी समय अब थोड़ा सा कम है, तो एक क्वेश्चन मैं आपको इंटरप्ट करके मैं क्वेश्चन करना चाहता हूं, सो दैट उस पे आप थोड़ा सा फोकस कर पाए, बिकॉज ये मिस हो जाएगा. इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है. मैं अपना एक छोटा सा आपको ऑब्जर्वेशन देना चाहता हूं एक्सपीरियंस का. मैं अभी कुछ दिन पहले अपने गांव गया था. वहां पे कुछ एक मुसहर समाज है, उसके लोगों से इंटरेक्ट कर रहा था. So there I interacted with head of the family who had around 30-40 children, सब मिला के. And he said that now school has some system of जहाँ पे उसको खाना मिलता है बच्चों. So he was saying कि earlier in his time, means 30-40 years back, if a student was not going to the school for a certain period of time, teacher, while going back to his home, used to cross by and sit for a minute and check what has happened to that student, why he is not coming. But now all his children, they at time go to school, take food and meal, and they go to Bagicha nearby and play there throughout the day, and nobody bothers to check whether students are going to the school or not. So now the system, that selflessness, dedication that Raman sir was talking about, all these things, has gone down drastically, and it is going much lower and lower. So how these things can be tackled, through this new education policy.
Yes,
But before you answer, I would like to request Madam Kavita Sharma to be kindly little ready, because I would like to ask something on higher education. You have covered the school education, secondary education, etc. But I would like to come back to Madam Kavita Sharma on higher education. In higher education, also similar kind of plagiarism, no critical thinking, copy paste thing, ग्रेड मिलना है, पास हो जाना है, डिग्री ले लेना है. Everybody is PhD. Lots of PhDs, who don't know how to do critical thinking, how to make use of research. There are lots of MAs, BAs, and BSc. Even I know that there are MCAs who don't know how to develop a website, and they have become MCA. I mean, something of that sort is happening. So I would like to kindly take this question, Alok ji, and then I would like to come back to Madam Sharma. Yeah, please.
See, this education policy, new education policy, is also talking of how to take back 2 crore students who are yet to come in the fold of secondary education. It talks about we have to take back 2 crore people who are still out of our primary education. This meal system in the education was started primarily with this aim, that the poorest of the poor people, at least for the sake of meal, they would be joining the school. We will have to ensure that this meal system remains away from the corruption. If we provide the meal system in the schools, and this, as per this new education policy, this also talks about the health system in the primary schools. They are talking of, if we provide primary meals and primary health facilities in the school, the poorest of the poor people would love to send their children, and it will be an automatic process. Rightly said, Raviji, and we need not make an effort to go and ensure. Of course, some effort will be required, but we have to make the village school attractive enough for the poorest strata of our society, attractive enough so that they are compelling their children to go and spend there the day. That is the only answer which I get.
Right.
And if these are secondary thing is that these values, culture, mannerism, of course, the moment the parent sees the change in the behavior pattern of the student, it will further attract. But basic attraction has to come from the food and the health.